Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rick dropping in on you. Hope everybody's having an unbelievable start to your weekend. It's Focus Friday. We're going to talk about where we place our focus and the impact it will have on the outcomes of our lives. I hope that it inspires you. Before we get started, I want to remind you that the 7-day online business launch course is fully online. All the video lectures, all the step-by-step processes, as I always say, if you don't have at least two independent streams of income that you control, that no one can fire you from, that you can't get laid off from, that you know if you wake up every day and put something into it, you will get something back. You need to take this course. This is not just something I thought up. This isn't something I bought from somebody else. This is me putting my experience in a format to teach other people what I have done online over the last 13 years. There have been some tough times, some lean times, but there have been some unbelievably remarkable times. And we're right now in the process of scaling out. One of the ways we're doing it is creating these courses, removing me from the responsibility to teach them. I've taught it over and over. You're going to get all those video lectures from where I've taught it in the past, but you're going to get a step-by-step process. You're going to get support along the way, so you're not in it by yourself. You need to do this. In addition to that, if you're enrolling in it today, um, yesterday was a great day because I added 3 sessions with me. That's not in there today. If you didn't take advantage of it yesterday, you missed it. But if you take advantage of it today, you still get the Mind Unleashed course, which is another $597 course free. And you get the 6-month success and growth plan, which is a personalized plan based off of 20 questions that you answer for us. And we take the answer to those questions. We do a personality assessment. We do a DISC assessment, and we use that to build your 6-month success and growth plan. That's right now being offered for $99. But if you sign up today, you will get the 7-day online business launch course, which I want everybody to take advantage of. Trust me, you want to hedge your primary source of income. I don't care how well they're paying you, it's not yours. And you want to hedge that. You want to protect yourself against that. You also want to create a capacity to know when you need to generate more revenue. You have the means through which to do so. It's one of the best investments you can make. I did it for me, and I'm still enjoying the benefits of it. And I want to share it with you. So that's that. The link is in the description box. Don't miss the opportunity. Don't look back later and think, man, if I would have only take advantage of it and move in it, because this industry is evolving so rapidly. We don't know how it's going to look a year from now, but I can tell you it won't look the way it looks now. Get in so that you know it, you can see it move, you can make your adjustments. With that being said, let's talk. You've heard times before that whatever you focus on, we tend to focus on the negative. We are naturally, actually instinctively wired to focus on what's wrong. The brain, in its most ancient capacity, the reptilian brain, the base is solely there for the purpose of discovering things that could harm you. So it is wired to uh, find out things that are wrong. Now, ions ago, that was some creature, whatever creature lurking in the bushes while you're out hunting and gathering. And you needed, when the hair stood up on your neck, you knew something was wrong and you prepared. You were instinctively set to survive, to fight, or to run, fight or flight. Well, times have changed, and there are not many saber-toothed tigers or whatever the situation was that was back then. So what are the things that are stressing you now? Fears of failure, fears of financial difficulty, fears of uncertainty, and all the other things that are stressing you out and worrying you, and you're looking at it. And the more focus you give to it, the sicker you become. The more focus you give to it, the bigger it becomes. The more focus you give to it, the less you gain or develop an understanding of how to overcome it. You don't understand. The more you focus on things that are negative, the bigger the negativity becomes, and the ability to resolve the issue shrinks. Um, Now, here's another place that we tend to give a lot of attention to: our past. Now, our past has a purpose. It is an experience. It is a recording of the experiences that we've had. And when we search it um, periodically for wisdom, it serves its purpose. But when we spend too much time there, it paints a barrier or a parameter or a gate, so to speak, around what we're capable of. We should never be consulting our past for permission to change our future. We should never be looking in our past trying to determine whether or not we're capable of doing something that we have never done. Uh, the problem with doing that is you will always talk yourself out of it. Here's why. When I'm preparing myself to do something that I've never done before, when I was writing my first book, starting my first business, making my first connection with an international client, whatever the situation is, uh, when I was doing it for the first time, the one thing that I could not find in my past was how to do it. If I had never done it before, my past couldn't tell me that. And if I'm looking to my past for affirmation on whether or not I should do something, my past is going to tell me, you don't know how to do that. And if I need to know how to do it before I start, I'll never start. So the first step for me isn't to determine how I'm going to do it. It's simply to determine that I am. I'm going to ask myself, is this something you want to commit to? Because I don't commit to anything that I won't finish. So I have to ask myself, if you commit to this, are you going to go the distance? Is there any reason whatsoever that you would put this down? And if the answer is yes, then it's something I don't need to pick up, because my why isn't big enough for me to carry it the distance. But if I sit up and I make up in my mind that this is something that I'm going to do and that I'm going to go the distance, because that's it. It's not what you know. It's not how much experience you have. It is what is the distance you're willing to go. How far are you willing to go to achieve this thing you say you want? How many bumps are you willing to take? How many setbacks are you willing to experience? How long of a delay are you willing to endure in order to have this thing? Because the things that are worth having come at a price. You're going to have to fight for it, work for it, wait for it, push for it, lean into it. And it's going to take you being resilient enough not to quit when it gets tough. And that's the thing. It's not whether I understand or know it all. Let me tell you, if you knew how to do it, you probably would have done it already. So we could automatically say, I'm probably not going to have all the answers when I start. So the first thing I need to do is develop the capacity to do it. That's what determines what you have. Not the fact that you want it, or you're wishing for it, or you're hoping for it. What determines whether you're going to have it or not is, am I willing to become the person with the capacity to do it? Because you get what you are, you get who you become. And so in other words, what you've got to do is determine, I am going to be what's necessary for me to have it. And for that to happen, I don't need my focus to be in my past. I need my focus to be in and I'm not saying you don't have times that you reminisce. You look back and say, man, this was great, but you don't carry the burdens and the failures. You learn from them and you file them away. And you say, okay, that's experience. And so when I'm looking at something, I say, well, I know that I shouldn't do that because when I do that, this happens. But okay, so I know that, but it doesn't tell me that I'm not going for what I'm going for. It doesn't have the capacity to do that. What determines what I'm going to go for is simply my will and my faith in my capacity to do it. And that's something that's only limited by me. The only limitations that you have are the ones that you accept. You got to think all of the things that you experience as luxuries and conveniences now were once considered impossible. Hell, the fact that you're sitting up here watching me now, the way that you're doing that was once considered a fantasy. But what happened? Somebody didn't buy into the fact that it was, or the idea that it was a fantasy. Somebody said, you know what? It can be done, and they opened up their mind and they put down the doubt, and they started to, instead of saying it can't be done, they start looking for ways to do it. And that is the freedom of thought and imagination and creativity that God implanted in all of us, but we tend to struggle and strangle it and press it and push it out of our, we start doing it with our kids as soon as school age starts. Get your head out the clouds, stop daydreaming. That's not realistic. We systematically crush the creativity and imagination of our children. And we put them in the boxes that we have determined to be safe. And they never, ever venture outside of that box if you build it and solidify it strongly enough. So one of the things I do with my clients is I tear the box down. I tear the box down. Outside of this box isn't death. It's the freedom of your growth, the freedom of possibility, the freedom of advancement and progression in this life and doing things that you always thought impossible. There's no such thing as impossible. It's only impossible because you believe it to be so. It was once considered impossible to run the mile in under 4 minutes. Roger Bannister did it in 1954. And within the next 2 years, another 200 people did it. You know why? Because he proved it wasn't impossible. All of a sudden, the barriers in the mind came down, and now people believe they could do it, and they started doing it. The real crazy thing about it is when they interviewed Roger Bannister on how he trained, how he ate, what he did to prepare to run the mile in under 4 minutes, he simply said, I ran it 1,000 times in my mind. He used his imagination to create a reality that didn't exist, and then he did it. So don't tell me what you can't do, but you can't focus on your past. You can't focus on a place that has never seen something that you're trying to create for permission to create it. Stop focusing on your past. Focus on what's ahead of you. Open up your mind. Let your imagination explore the possibilities. There are ideas and there are thoughts that are floating around in this world that are the answers to the enigmas that you face. And you are so caught up in looking behind you that you're missing the opportunity to expand yourself. You're missing the opportunity to elevate yourself. You're missing the opportunity to touch the dream. I'm not in any way suggesting that touching the dream is easy. I'm not suggesting that achieving some of the ideas and accolades that you have running through your mind is going to be easy. What I am suggesting simply is that it's possible. You're going to determine whether you get there or not by determining whether you're willing to commit to the process that it takes. Simply put, people don't arrive at their destination because they don't have the commitment to go the distance. It gets hard, they quit. Takes too long, they quit. Feelings get hurt, they quit. A couple of setbacks, quit. Everything has to be instantaneous or it's simply not God's will. No. God said, no good thing will be withheld. So then if it's a good thing and you're going to do a good thing with it, it's there. You just simply got to fight for it. You got to live for it. You got to push for it. You got to hold on to it until you get to it. This microwave society is so set on getting things immediately that when things don't come immediately, we jump to the next thing. We are a generation of jumpers. We're constantly jumping from one thing to the next, one thing to the next, one thing to the next. And we're never taking time to build anything that lasts because we won't stay long enough to make it happen. And this is what I'm trying to get you to stop looking at your past. Pull the wisdom from it. Learn from the mistakes. But you've got to be able to go beyond what your past can tell you to do something you've never done before. Les Brown says it this way, and he's very straightforward with it. He says that when you are making up in your mind to do something that you've never done before, how you're going to do it is none of your business. What is he saying? He's saying that when you're making up your mind to do something you've never done, if you are if knowing how to do it is going to determine whether you try, you won't try. Why? Because you probably won't know. If it's something you've never done before, you're not going to know how to do it. So that can't be a prerequisite for doing it. But so many people use that. Well, how would I do this? Well, what would I do? Where do I start? I don't ask myself any of those things when I'm making up in my mind to do something I've never done before. Those are questions that come, but they don't come when I making up in my mind, because the more I explore what I need to know and don't know it, the more discouraged I'll become on whether I can do it. And then I start going, man, it's going to take me this long just to learn this. It's going to take me this long just to get here. And then you start saying, man, but when you sit up and say, you know what? I'm going the distance. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know everything, but I'm doing this. And then you get into it and you look up and you'll be 3 years into it. And where you started out as a novice, around the 3-year, 4-year mark, depending on how hard in the paint you went, you now an expert in something that you didn't know very much about 3.5, 4 years ago. But if somebody would have said it's going to take you 3 years, 4 years before you can even get yourself anchored in it, you probably wouldn't even start it. Because we want everything now. Everybody's reaching and grasping and pulling at something that goes now, and those shallow accomplishments, those shallow meats don't have the lasting power or the longevity of something anchored and planted and rooted that you built, that you developed, that you worked on. And that's one of the problems. We have got to do a better job of committing ourselves to go into places we haven't been, to grow ourselves. This is how we make the world better. This is how we improve the lives for ourselves and those that we love, not by staying in the box, not by sitting around and playing it safe. We make the world better by going out into areas that have not been cultivated. We become pioneers of new ideas, pioneers of new opportunities, pioneers of new creative ways of living this life better and safer and more healthy. And it's our responsibility to do so. God didn't plan us here to be average. God didn't plan us here just to survive. God didn't plan us here to go day for day, week for week, check to check. That's not the life we were designed to live. We were designed to be a reflection of the Creator. The reflection of the Creator in that sense means that people will look at me and say, man, anything this guy sets his mind to do, he gets it done. He doesn't complain. He doesn't whine. He goes through things because I've seen him go through it, but he just consistently focuses on moving ahead. He's laying a foundation. He's building something. He's doing something. What I'm doing is I'm reflecting God in my behavior. I'm reflecting God in my expectations. And I understand that I have a responsibility to show up every day and be my best self. It doesn't mean everything goes well. It doesn't mean everything is, it means that sometimes I'm getting it from every side, but I understand that I'm built for it. I'm getting it from every side, but I understand that it can't hold me forever. I'm getting it from every side, but I understand that under this pressure, something is being built. I understand that that same type of pressure is what turns coal into diamonds. I understand that I was put here to be transformed into something greater as I live so that I can be a reflection of the Creator. Stop focusing on what's wrong. Stop focusing on your past. Focus on what lies ahead. I want to encourage you. There's something remarkable on the inside of you. I don't care what they told you as a kid. I don't care what happened in school. Some of you even were in home were told that you weren't going to do X, Y, Z, or you couldn't do it. God didn't create anything mediocre. God is the grand designer, and you are his masterpiece. But you're going to have to be willing to step outside of the boundaries of boxes that someone else created and convinced you belonged in, and start standing up and moving in ways that you didn't even think to be possible. You're going to start giving other people permission to do the same. You're going to introduce them to the possibilities of greatness. And if you do this consistently, if you wake up every day and say, I'm going to give life everything I have, I'm going to take this 86,400 seconds and turn the world upside down. If you do it consistently, day in and day out, you won't have to chase greatness. It will overtake you. You will simply look up one day and you will have built a legacy that will speak of you long after you're gone. A legacy that will outlive the things you can buy, the places you can go, the bank accounts. You'll have a legacy of lives touched, lives inspired, lives changed. That's the thing that you want to focus on. Go out there and do something remarkable, phenomenal, extraordinary. You were built for it. On that note, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. As I said at the beginning of this video, if you haven't signed up for that 7-day online business launch course, and you don't have at least 2 independent streams of income you control, you need to sign up for this class. And while you're at it, you're going to get the Mind Unleashed course, which I think is an unbelievable pairing of the two. And you're going to get the personalized 6-month success and growth plan, which I think is pretty extraordinary. Another one of my creations, but I think it's extraordinary to have a plan, literally set up for you step by step, week by week for 6 months to get you to a place that you've been saying you wanted to go for years. All of that stuff is sold separately, but it's going to be given to you here if you sign up for this 7-day online business launch course. Something that's going to pay for itself over again. I've been doing this for 13 years, so obviously it works. So, but again, I work. I wake up and I show up every day, but it works. On that note, look, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. I hope that you guys have an unbelievable remainder of your day. I got a client in 30 minutes, so I'm going to start preparing for them. But anyway, take care of yourselves. Love on yourselves. As I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. I challenge you to do the same. On that note, I'm out of here.